Hello, so today we're going to talk about cultivating your child's psychic abilities. Now, all children are psychic, and most children display some sort of active psychic ability at a very young age. And this is because children inherently use the right side of their brain, which is full of imagination and creativity, right? This is also the psychic side of their brains. So what happens when they go to school, right? They start getting to that age where they start using the left side of their brain, the more analytical side of their brain, and this tends to dampen their psychic abilities. So as parents, it is super important to learn how to help cultivate our child's psychic abilities, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So hold on, let's get right into this. So only a fraction of children tend to keep their psychic abilities active into adulthood, and this is because it is generally not cultivated. And so, like I said, as parents, if we can help our kids to cultivate these psychic abilities, then they will more likely keep them well into their adulthood, and this could help them their entire lives. So here are 10 ways that you can cultivate your child's psychic abilities. Number 1, talk to your child about their psychic abilities. Make it feel normal and natural. They don't want to feel weird because they have these abilities. They want it to feel totally normal and totally natural. So talk to them about their imaginary friend or their dreams or the energies that they're picking up or the things that they are seeing, hearing, or feeling. So this is so important in helping them to know that it is perfectly normal and natural what they're experiencing. Get them to talk about how they feel or what things they are seeing or experiencing. And the more they can talk about it, the more they're also going to trust you and open up to you. And that's super important too. Number 2, help give them the tools they need to manage their feelings. Your kid may be totally empathic and is picking up all the things in their environment and is feeling overwhelmed in crowds and all sorts of things. And just like you might be an empath, they are an empath too. So give them the tools to deal with all the things that they are picking up and feeling. Help them to know again that this is perfectly normal and here are tools to help them. So if you need some tools to help them, here is a video on tools to help empaths, and a lot of those tools you can also use with kids. Keep in mind that they might also have a hard time watching really sad or emotional movies or have just a hard time being around big groups of people, and don't make them feel bad for being overwhelmed. Help them to understand that it's okay and it just means that they're very sensitive, and that being sensitive isn't a bad thing. It's actually a good thing because it helps them to know more about their environment. The more that they can trust themselves and their intuition and know about their environment, the more you're really helping them to build the tools that they need. Number 3, validate their fears without making their fears a bigger thing. Now, this can be really tricky too, because so many times kids have a really hard time going to bed at night, right? Because they're feeling so sensitive to the energies around them, or maybe they're hearing or seeing spirits. And so maybe they're a little freaked out about going to bed. Let them have that light on. Talk to them about their feelings. Validate their fears and let them know that you understand. And again, help to give them the tools that they need to deal with their fears. Remember, kids are often feeling afraid at night because they are picking up on things they don't understand. And that feeling of not understanding translates to fear. So by helping them to understand what's going on, it helps to break that pattern of fear, and it helps them to have tools, again, to deal with their fears. So remember that the veil is thinnest at night, right? So your kid is probably a little freaked out at night because they are picking up on all of those energies. So again, validate this for them, validate their fears, and let them know that you understand without making their fears a bigger thing. The worst thing that you can do is to gaslight your kid into thinking that they're not experiencing what they are. Then they learn to not trust their own feelings and gut intuition. So make sure you're not doing that, all right? Number 4, cultivate their gut knowingness of who to trust and not to trust. Okay, so like I talked about gaslighting before, we have a tendency to gaslight our kids and override their intuition and their gut knowingness, right? Because we think we know better than them. The problem is that then they don't learn to trust their own intuition, and this is super important. And kids have great intuition. They really know who to trust and who not to trust. Like, my kid was so smart when she was little. She knew intuitively out of my friend group who to trust and who not to trust. And I learned later that she was absolutely right and I was wrong. So it is really important to trust your kid, and again, to validate their gut knowingness and help them to trust their own gut. All right? All right, number 5 goes along with number 1, which is about talking to your kid about their psychic abilities. Additionally, ask your kids about their past, right? And I'm not talking about from the point that they were born until the point that they are now. I'm talking about beyond that. Ask them about the time that they were in the womb or the time before that when they were waiting to be born into this reality, or ask them about their past lives. Remember that the veil is really thin in their ability to recall all of these things. So the more that you help them to remember and to recall these experiences, the more likely they will remember them into adulthood. So yeah, and the things that you find out are super cool. Okay, so like for an example, my ex-husband, he told me that when he was a kid, he used to talk to his mom about when he was an older woman. Isn't that cool? So yeah, ask your kid about their past lives, what it was like before they came into this world and before they came into this reality. I asked my kid what it was like before she was born, and she told me about her experiences in the womb. Isn't that cool? So make sure that you write these things down too, because you're going to want to remember them later on, and you're going to want to make sure that you share them with your kids when they grow up. Number 6, help your kid to rewrite their scary dreams. You know, kids often have scary dreams at this point because they're feeling so helpless and out of control, right? They don't feel like they're in control of their lives, and this manifests in their dream reality. So help them to develop tools in their dream world that will help to empower them. One of the ways that you can do this is by helping them to rewrite their dreams in an empowering way. And the more that you go through those scary dreams by rewriting them, you're actually helping them to use those tools within their dreams later on. You're actually reprogramming their brain to use those tools throughout their life. It's so cool. So what you can do, for an example, is help them to call in their spirit guides or angels, or maybe their deceased relatives, and those beings can help them in those scary moments. And the more that they start to reprogram those dreams, the more that they can empower themselves within their dreams and also within their lives. Number 7, believe in your kid and what your kid tells you. If your kid says, I had this experience, or I saw this being, or I spoke to this deceased relative, believe them, validate them. Again, there is nothing worse than gaslighting your kid and making your kid feel like they're crazy, right? Because then they're going to stop believing in their own psychic abilities, and they're going to stop trusting their gut knowingness. So make sure that you are believing them. Listen to them. Listen to their stories. Ask questions. Engage with them and get to know their reality. Again, Validate them and listen to them. This will totally empower them and help them. Now, keep in mind that there is a fine line between validating their experiences and validating their imagination, okay? So do keep in mind that kids can definitely blow things out of proportion, so strive to maintain balance with this, all right? Do make sure you validate their experiences, but don't necessarily blow their imagination out of proportion. I hope this makes sense to you. Number 8, let them know that they can speak to you about anything and that it's okay and that you hold a safe place for them to talk with you about anything, okay? This is super important because they're going to want to feel safe around you. These are like really freaky, scary things to talk about because they might feel like they're crazy or weird or whatever, and they want to hear from you that it's normal, it's okay, and that they are totally safe to talk about these things with you. So the more that you let them know that you are a safe person to talk to and that everything that they're talking about is perfectly natural and normal, this will help them to feel a lot better. Let them know that it is totally okay and natural and normal to build your intuitive muscle, right? And building with that, number 9, let them know that this is normal and natural, that building their intuition or experiencing these things are normal and natural. Remember, we are energetic beings, right? You've probably heard this in every single video that I share. We are energetic beings, and as energetic beings, our psychic abilities are our normal and natural way to communicate and to receive and send information, right? So whatever they're experiencing and whatever they're going through is normal and natural. Let them know that. Let them know that these things are okay. My daughter used to pick up on energies around her all the time, and one of the energies that she would pick up was of her baby brother. Now, we didn't have another baby yet, keep this in mind, but she would talk about her baby brother all the time and how she wanted one and what his name was and all these different things. And I too could actually feel that baby boy energy around me. So I unfortunately had to let him know, hey, like, I can't have you coming through me again and being my baby, because the first one took a lot out of me. So if you could please come into our world in another way. But yeah, it was really cool that she was picking up these energies, and I was too. So I could totally validate that for her, and she could validate it for me. And number 10. Teach them to call upon their angels, their spirit guides, or family members who have deceased. Let them know that they have a team that can help them at any point when they are feeling nervous or afraid. And like I said earlier, in dealing with scary dreams and things like that, they can use them then as well, but they can also call on them at any point during the day or night when they are feeling like they need that extra support. So letting them know that they have a team that is supporting them and protecting them will help them to feel safe. So one of the things that you can do is you can put pictures on their wall by their bed of either these relatives that are protecting them or their spirit guides or angels, or you can actually have them draw them from their own perspective. And then that way they have that image by them to let them know that they are safe and protected. So yeah, this is a super powerful tool because it lets them know that they are not alone in dealing with all these things, and that when they are totally freaked out, they can call upon these energies to help to protect them. Okay, so I actually have some bonus tips as well that you can do to help your kid. All right, so for an example, let's say that your kid is seeing and experiencing a lot of spirits, all right? And these spirits are trying to communicate with your kid, but unfortunately, the following day, your kid is super tired for school, right? Okay, so you can actually communicate with these spirits as well. You can talk to them in your kids' room and let them know, hey, this is really not a good time for you to be visiting my kid, that this is really affecting my kid in a negative way. If you can please do this at a time that is better for both of us, like the weekend, that we are open and receptive to working with you, but that it is really challenging for my kid to deal with this right now. Now, they will be receptive to these boundaries because they do want to work with you and they don't want to make it hard on your kid. They totally understand. So, asserting your boundaries is super important for your kid. Additionally, like I said, if your kid is hearing or seeing spirits and it's getting overwhelming, you can empower your kid to set their own boundaries, okay? That you can encourage and teach your kid to speak to these spirits and say, hey, I can't really listen to you tonight. Tonight is a bad night for me. I need my rest, or whatever it is that they're overwhelmed with it. Help them to assert their own boundaries with spirit. This is super important because especially when they're grown up too, that this is an important skill in your psychic ability, that setting your boundaries with spirits and beings that you communicate are an important tool. So if they learn this tool early on, it's gonna totally help them. You can also teach your child some energy healing techniques, and these can be so helpful for your kid. Let's say when they're having a bellyache or whatever, they can learn to work on themselves, right? And that these tools will translate into their adulthood, and they will be tools that they can use for the rest of their lives. Not only will they use them on themselves, but they can use them on others. Now, if you are interested in learning about a really great energy healing technique, I will put that link up here. Along with energy healing, you can also teach them to cleanse their energy field every day, right? Because we all pick up energetic debris, and kids do too. So teaching them to cleanse their energy field and to get rid of that psychic debris that they don't need anymore is another great tool that will help them throughout their entire lives. And lastly, I just want to reiterate, have those open conversations with your kiddo, okay? Ask them what they are experiencing and let them talk with you about the things that they're seeing and feeling and hearing, or the things that they know. Ask them about it. Get them to dialogue and talk about it. The more that you can normalize it, the more that you can help them to feel normal and natural about this, the better they're going to feel about it as a whole, and the more that it's going to help to remove their fears. Ask them, for an example, what does the energy feel like to you? Or what are you picking up? Or who are you seeing? Or what are they saying to you? Like, figure out ways to communicate with your kid to help them to open up and share these things with you. Because the more that you can get into an open dialogue with them, you're helping them to build the tools that they need. Plus, you are cultivating a deeper relationship with your child over this. So this is super duper important. Anyway, I really hope that these tools have helped you, and I hope that you have enjoyed them. If you would like to know more about psychic development, check out my other video here. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome day.